In late morning trade here at the New York Stock Exchange, we're seeing the major U.S. stock averages lose earlier gains. Now, earlier we started out with a strong start, but we're standing here after 11 a.m. and we're seeing the averages lose momentum. So joining me now is Peter Cardillo for Standard Financial. Peter, great to have you here today.
Good to be back.
Well, here we are. We're at the beginning of a very busy week. It's the final one for Q2. We have central bank speeches, but we also have a handful of economic data. So what do we see going on here?
Well, I think the first thing we have to keep in mind that we are in the last week of the quarter, and that means we'll probably see window dressing, and that's probably one of the reasons why we saw a fairly strong opening, and now the market has pulled back somewhat. We've had some economic data today. Of course, the Chicago National Activity Index came in a little bit on the low side. Durable goods also came in a little bit weaker than expected, but in general, these two indices are not pointing to any trouble ahead. So later in the week, we'll be focusing on personal income and, of course, spending, along with the final picture of Q1 gross domestic product.
And looking ahead to the rest of this week, we will be watching out for speeches out from Janet Yellen as well as other Fed speakers to get a better idea of what the central bank will be doing for the rest of this year. But we also have Draghi today. And at the beginning of the session today, we saw bank stocks gain on the rescue of two Italian regional banks. So what do you make of that action?
I think the news out of Italy today is what prompted a global stock market rally. And I think that's one of the reasons why we saw maybe the banks follow suit here in the States. And so it's sort of like a relief factor, especially within the Eurozone.
Okay, and last but not least, as we head into the next month, we will be getting earnings. Now, given what we saw last quarter or last earnings season, what do you expect to see in this season?
Well, I think with the unemployment situation being so strong, that is employment being strong, and unemployment being down to basically full capacity, I think that might take a bite out of earnings. Now, I'm not suggesting that earnings are going to fall off a cliff by any means of the imagination. No, they won't. But could they be slightly weaker due to more cost factors? Good possibility.
Okay, Peter, well, thank you so much for joining me at the beginning of the week, and we'll speak to you next week.